Welcome back to the channel. This is an update for everything that's been going on in the shop, all the projects that you see behind me. We're gonna go one by one and give you guys an update. We're gonna give you a little bit of insight on what's been happening over here at the shop, so here we go. First things first, if you're watching this video, you probably just watched part one of my daily driven Ford Excursion build. This is getting a long arm 4-link setup with the 05 to 07 front and rear axles, new wheels and tires, Carly rear suspension with leafs and King shocks, King remote reservoir coilovers also on the front, spec'd and tuned by PMF Suspension out in Arizona. All the rear stuff is all Carly, spec'd and tuned by them through King. Just to get up close and personal on this thing, this just looks absolutely nuts with how beefy all the parts are from PMF. Everything that's going on this truck is just extra beefy. It's really gonna change the feel. It's gonna upgrade the brake sizes. It's gonna be bigger rotors, bigger calipers, the piston size on the calipers, I mean. But it's just a much better designed suspension to go under the age and bring this truck back to like a newer driving feel with a true front coil conversion. The rear leaf pack is still tuned and adjusted for the Excursion, but rear leafs are still a thing on trucks, and they actually do it today on a lot of your everyday trucks. So that's what's going on with the Excursion. Next, this is Adrian's.
I'm your dad, you know that, right?
Yeah, they already know that.
You know that, right?
My dad's Project Suburban. This is his overland beast of a thing. 37s, all custom aluminum shaped top, bolted to the bottom half of the Suburban that is all sheet metal and flanged to house the top. This thing's got a Duramax engine with an Allison transmission. Ford axles, also radius arms, similar to what I'm putting on my Excursion, but because of what he did on his, I decided to do on my Excursion. It's kind of his fault I'm doing this on the Excursion. This thing starts and runs. He actually has been doing some final housework and touch-up because he likes to do everything himself. So this was put by the wayside, and he's gonna get to it when he gets to it, which is coming up any day now, because his housework that he's been working so diligently on every weekend is coming to an end. And now he can go back and focus on this project, which is just a monster of a truck, and it's gonna be awesome when it's finished. Next up, Ferrari 288 GTO project. We had a lot of parts that we had to send out to powder coat, which actually just came back last week. I don't know if some of you guys have seen this yet. The wheels are refinished. We had all those redone. We didn't like the color that they came out with in the powder coat originally, so we sent these out, had them stripped down, machined, and brushed finished in a clear anodized look. So this is how it sits right now. Daryl is on the fence about it still because we did have to put 18s on this car. This car has 360 Modena brakes all around, so it actually is meant for an 18-inch wheel because they are 13-inch brakes front and rear. Doing some brake math calculations, it is possible that we could fit a 16-inch one-piece forged wheel on this setup. Right now we're trying to calculate with another wheel company if we can make this happen. We've been in talks with quite a few. Some guys are like, oh no, we can't do it, can't do it. The drop on the inner barrel will be too much, blah, blah, blah. I want to do a one-piece wheel, make it look like a multi-piece so you don't have that drop in the middle and make contact with the caliper, have to shave the caliper, make new mounts, none of that shit. Brakes are gonna stay the way they are. This is a good brake package. The master cylinders and the pedal box for this car is already sized for this brake package. So if we change that stuff, we have to change master cylinders and do all that math all over again, which we don't really want to do. So it's easier to play with wheels and design and measurements that way as opposed to having to physically change all those parts. So that's what's going on there. Chaser, still for sale, 29K or something. You'll see it on Facebook Marketplace. I have that online. My 1186 that I got from Japan, for sale. I really want to focus on my Excursion and everything that we have going on here in front of us and make this the most ultimate daily driver, go anywhere, weekend camper truck that I can. And then really focus on my IS250 race car that's over at B-Side Fabrication with the Kazama Auto wide body kit, K-swap, 5-speed dog box H pattern, all the time attack goodies, but for sprint racing. The idea for that car is to be a sprint car. So that has to go next. We'll get to that one later. Hako runs and drives. We actually never driven it since it got aligned. It has a monstrous oil leak from the valve cover. We have a new valve cover getting the nameplate machined. Yeah, so we're waiting to get that back from Richard and powder coat the valve cover the color that Daryl wants for this car, get a new valve cover seal on it, and make sure there's no more leaky on the exhaust pipe. Red GTT, Daryl's secondary GTT because the first one became a Too Fast, Too Furious car. So this is his personal project that is something we're gonna get into at a later date. I have a lot of parts actually accumulated for this car, but we're not sure when to fit it in yet. We have a lot of things in limbo and stuff we want to finish that has already begun. So this is just going to keep collecting parts in the meantime. Red wagon with 500 horsepower and a clutch pedal. Still for sale. It's on Facebook Marketplace. You'll see it. This white Supra we're hanging on to for now. We really thought about selling it if it made sense, but as of right now, that's not making sense to us. We want to hold on to it. This is in the way that you generally can't find a Supra anymore. The engine's been taken apart. It was actually rather cheap to buy this car complete. It has all the engine parts in the back, but we're not sure what's wrong with it. We already have another engine ready for this car. It is a factory manual car, Targa 94 pearl white. It's complete, has everything we need it to be for the bones of another Fast and Furious Supra, if we decide to go that route. So this car is not for sale yet. Mazda RX-4, Luce, 1974, small bumper, Japanese, automatic rotary car. For sale, it's been for sale. Had a couple of people interested in the car, but they want this because it's essentially, it's turnkey, it's ready to go. It's an original driver, unmolested, but they want to trade me for cars that I have to fully restore and do body and paint and do upholstery and do chrome work. We don't want to do that shit. If you want to bring us a car, we'll gladly do it all day long, but to trade a perfectly good driving car for more projects for us doesn't make sense. This sadness, I know, it sucks. We cut the floor out. We had big plans for this car. A lot of things fell through. Some companies took longer than others to get us the parts we needed, and that's why that thing's the way it is. So we kind of abandoned this project. We repurposed that order, not the actual transmission, for another project. So that's why that's gonna stay the way it is. We had a client potentially interested in that car, haven't been able to make anything happen, so we're not sure when that's gonna be a thing, but it's not hurting right now to just sit and think and figure out a proper plan to get this back on the road. This can marry. This is gonna be a hell of a car. It's gonna be awesome to drive. It's gonna make really good power. Power steering, AC, power windows, modern front suspension geometry. Awesome. This client's GTR project. We are waiting on the engine, transmission, whole bunch of parts that we've ordered from Japan, Australia, through Greddy, through Apexy, through all the suppliers that we regularly work with. Parts are coming for this car. We're gonna go ahead and keep stripping this thing down to get ready for prep and paint. This is not the hood that's going on the car, as I've mentioned before. This is a test fitted hood. We didn't like the quality of it overall for the end goal of this project. So that's the only reason we're taking this hood off, and this will actually end up possibly on Daryl's red GTT. Next, the car that's caused us probably the most freaking hair loss of all, this freaking Charger, dude. This 1970 Charger with a 572 Hemi has been the biggest headache we've ever dealt with. We've done everything possible now to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So we could hopefully get this car out on the road with the orange Supra that we have completed at this point. Feels like a freaking year ago, to go ahead and take a cruise together. These cars have not seen the light of day together side by side down the road ever. Every time something comes up, we're either overheating or it's mixing still. Well, it was. It's not anymore. We have thoroughly pressure tested the cooling system on this car with the new updates we did to the cylinder heads, the new head gaskets, blocking off the steam ports on the heads, and going through everything that we needed to do to make sure that this does not happen again. It's already been heat cycled twice. It has had the head studs retorqued in the valley. All the main head studs have been retorqued. Everything is valve lashed and checked. We did a hot check to see what the lash was at. It's all redone. The tower's back on. Now it's just to complete it, put it all back together and fire it up again. Do a couple more heat cycles. Try to flush the rest of whatever is remaining of the water that got into the block. Flush all that out so we could actually take this out for a drive with the Supra. All right, so let's go down the other row. Oh shit, I sneak peeked one. Don't look at that. Sorry, blur that out. Walk this way. Walk this way. Ford Lightning, still for sale. You've probably seen my Facebook Marketplace ad on this thing. Everybody's trying to lowball me. I don't care. I know what I got. I know what it's worth. We bought this thing for $27,000. 77,000 miles, original one-owner truck. It has been cosmetically restored. It passes emissions. We've done some service to the engine. Brand new tires, Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, probably f***ing 4S's. I don't even know anymore, dude. Pilot Sport 4S's, 295 45 18s, refinished, backdated wheels. OEM backdated wheels. New glass, new headlights, new grills, all of that stuff is all new. 35 grand, gets this truck, clean title, it's perfect. Just drive it, enjoy it, take the stickers off, we don't care, but this deserves a new life. So if you see that speck of yellow, not that one, no, not that one. The one that I keep walking by, that's right there. That one, we're gonna get into an in-depth video on that car. It's something that's near and dear to all of us JDM heads in this shop. We love these cars. It's freaking awesome. And it's actually a really good spec. So we'll get into that car later. But for now, we'll just keep going down the lineup. FD. I have like a ton of money in parts for this car, waiting to get it built up, make 400 wheel, very responsive setup, but I don't really have a purpose or an end goal outside of just putting those parts on and then it's just finished. But that takes time to get to that point. We have everybody busy with other projects that have taken priority. This 1 Series, it's finished. It was for sale for a while. I got lowballed a lot. The market dropped. The car just sits. It's okay. Battery's new, everything's fresh on that car. Nothing's gonna happen, it can just sit. This DC2 Integra that you saw at the Honda meet. By the time you see this video, this car will possibly be already on the market and for sale on my marketplace. So black, hardtop, 1997 50th anniversary Toyota Supra, medium-sized single turbo. That car runs and drives perfectly. So at a moment's notice, that car is always ready to go and available to be used for any event that we want to go to in the future. So every time we get requested to come out and hang out or bring a car and just hang out with the guys, that's one of the main cars we take out. E30 M3 convertible that I actually have a complete S54 E46 M3 engine package for with a 6-speed manual transmission. It's on my list. I have a lot of parts to get for that car to make it very turnkey friendly, have AC, power windows, power top. We have a brand new top, a brand new upholstery, that everything's there for that car. But again, we don't have enough time to do all these projects at once. We gotta tick them down the line. But cars like that freaking black Charger breaking down all the time or causing us issues keep delaying the other projects. So hopefully we're done with that car now. BNR 33 GTR, Tomei 2.8, HKS complete catalog, Nismo parts, Brembo brakes, TEs, V-spec seats. It's just sitting. Actually, it's just a beautiful black R33 GTR V-spec car. There's nothing else that it needs. It just needs to be driven or used or have a reason to take it out. But I also need to fix the AC because now it's hot and the AC belt's always been removed on that thing. Storing that for a client and we're not doing anything with it here. So eventually that's gonna leave. This freaking SEMA Beauty, we actually have a big thing coming out for this. Actually, by the time this comes out, you will have already seen that their items are being released. There is pricing available and you are available to get on the pre-order for Tom's rear spoiler, exhaust, wheels, brakes, special heritage seats. All this stuff will be available through us and through Apexy. Hit us up for all your Tom's Jarrah Corolla needs. This black twin turbo automatic Targa, we actually bought it because we were intending on doing a twin turbo automatic Fast and Furious replica. We do have a heart and it's actually extremely hard to tear into this car and turn it into a movie prop style build. So for right now, I have zero issue holding on to any Supras because they really do hold their value well. And if we decide, hey, we gotta offload that Supra, then so be it. But at least that's okay sitting here. It's not a rush to get rid of it and we'll get to that car when we can, or maybe somebody wants to buy this car from us and have us build it for them. I'm down for that. Hit us up. This green 1971 Mach 1 Mustang. It actually got cosmetically restored. It has a big block 429 engine swap with a C6 automatic transmission. It was actually a low mileage drivetrain that we had from a 1971 Ford Thunderbird. We need to finish all the final details. When you start one of these restoration projects and you get near that finish line, those final details are what make that project look like it's worth 100 grand. So everything in this car should make it for a fun car to drive once it's all together. And that one will be for sale. That's one of the cars that we bought a long time ago to restore, rebuild, and sell. Michael Knight over here. It's just chilling, hibernating. We have plans for this car, but we're not really sure when those are gonna come to fruition. Same thing. There's only so many of us here and everyone puts in all their hours they can to get some of these things completed and done when we have deadlines. So that car is on the back burner for now. CHP Mustang. Kenny Bell supercharged, fully rotisserie restored. This thing drives great, has a twin plate clutch, Kenny Bell, smog legal, California compliant supercharger. That car's finished. We have a lot of the decals. Daryl's been sourcing all the scanners and all that stuff that he had in the past for his other CHP Mustang for this car, so that way we can complete it. It can be rented or it can be sold because everything has a price. We've sold one of these before, and it's actually one of the people from the Peterson Museum that owns it. Ah, beauty. Okay, this guy down here. This is a 1970 Chevy Malibu. This thing is a factory big block, factory manual, super cool car. This car has been rotisserie restored, also by Jason that restored this guy. The craftsmanship and everything on this car is just as good as the stuff that we do in-house. It drives great. Dude, this is a really good old school restoration. This thing's got some grunt and some balls, but it literally, you could drive it every day, just comfortable. The gears are smooth, everything's great. As a manual muscle car, this thing's freaking awesome. As an automatic cruiser, that 71 Mustang is your thing. This S2000 that's up here. So I remember we posed the question of turning it into Johnny Tran's S2000. Now for that car, I have everything from ASM. I have a Mugen carbon fiber hardtop, brand new in the box. And if you've seen it on Facebook Marketplace, it is for sale. This car is going next on the market to be for sale. It needs some engine work. We're not sure 100% what's going on with it, but it is one of the projects we are gonna do away with here. There's not enough of a benefit to keep this in-house and build a $100,000 S2000 when at the end of the day, it's not gonna be worth that amount for us if we decide to be like, hey, we need a quick turnaround, we need to make some space in the shop, we need to sell it. We're gonna be so far upside down on that thing that it just wouldn't be fun to let it go. And just to build it just because at this point doesn't make sense. So that is a 93,000 mile, 2005 AP2 S2000. It has all 10 matching VINs. It does have some nicks and scratches and it needs some love, but this is the perfect starter S2000 to get into. Do a K-swap, do a K20C1 Type R swap, I don't care, enjoy it. Build it yourself at home in the garage. It'll be a freaking awesome car when you're done. This beautiful NSX, it's done. This thing drives and feels awesome. The brakes are great. The look is great, the stance is great. It needs nothing but to be used. And like I said, right now with the move and being here since January, we've been so preoccupied of trying to get work done that we've been having a lot less fun than we anticipated. Plan is to change that and be out there more and set up stuff with the guys more often and just have fun and do the things as to why we got into this all over again. That's one of those cars that brings the most stupid amount of enjoyment that you could ever expect from a car that only makes 300 wheel horsepower. Next up, we have this beautiful 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner with an SRT8 392 6.4 liter Hemi engine, modern Mopar power. 6-speed manual transmission, altercation complete front subframe assembly with a rack and pinion conversion, a RideTech 4-link suspension in the rear, completely restored 3-piece wheels. This car is good to go. It's a freaking stunning car. It's huge. It's so freaking long I can barely get in the frame. Next up, this yellow behemoth. This 2005 H2 SUT has a Duramax engine and Allison transmission. Completely swapped over, brand new shocks and front steering gear, ready to go for sale. We gotta go ahead and get this detailed up. It's finally good to go. We've worked out all the kinks, getting washed up and put up for sale next week. This guy, we brought this car in. As you know, this is YouTube and building cars is part of the business, but you have to find ways to make money otherwise. So some of those things have to go and make way for new projects or space just for bringing in client cars, because then we don't want to leave our car sitting outside and we don't want the client's car to sit outside. This GC8 is honestly really awesome. It is a 1998 or 97, I can't remember, Impreza WRX STI Type R version 4. Ton of names for this thing, but it has the version 4 seats. It is all original STI EJ20. Freaking awesome car. It's what you want. You want that. You want it to be tuned by STI. The FJ We are waiting on some prototype pieces to come back from Richard at Works Corsa, so that way we can finish the rear window kit for production. Again, we only have 2 pre-orders sold for the window kits. If we don't reach that 10 magic number, we're not going to go ahead and put these into production. It takes a lot of time to get this kit ready and viable to ship out. So we have the glass ready, we have the guides, the motors, and some of the electrical pieces already ready to go. But the man labor to make the framing is what takes the most time. And until we get the 10 pre-orders, that doesn't get started. That's why you bought an FJ Cruiser, was to enjoy and go out there with your dogs and your family in the back seat and be able to roll that window down. Well, now you can, and we offer that kit, but you gotta hit that pre-order so we could sell it to you. This is all done, but this truck's awesome, supercharged, freaking cool. Next thing, and lastly, remember how I talked about the Charger being finished? So we could use this thing with it. The last time we used this car was probably to go out to, the I Am America debut of their launch for their event when we met up with everybody. Again, the plan is to do more of that with more friends and just get out there, put the cars in everyone's faces so everybody can see and appreciate the work that has gone into these cars. But yeah, this car is good to go. It's 100% ready, so that way we can use it with the Charger. Huge thank you guys for following along on all these projects and all these builds and just sticking with us through all this time. It's been a long time coming. We finally got situated in the new building. We're starting to take in client work. Huge thank you to you guys for supporting us and following and doing everything you need to do to be a part of everything that's been happening so far. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If there's any project you want to see more of, you have to put it in the comments. We read every comment. We try to respond to everybody. Whether you're rude or not, we don't care. We're gonna respond back to you. So we'll catch you guys later. See you next time.